In today's video, we're trying to make candy geodes at home that you can crack open to reveal the gems inside. Geodes are really cool if you've never seen them. It's a rock formation where there was a gap in some stone, and over thousands or millions of years, water and minerals got inside and built up crystal formations inside the rock. You crack them open and you see crystals inside. They're amazing.
We've discussed this before. We actually debunked a video a while back where somebody had said that you could microwave a rock and make a geode. That's not how this works.
No, definitely not. Unless maybe if you had the right kind of rock and you left it in the microwave for like 3 million years.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's possible, but we...
In the correct pocket of gas.
Yeah, we haven't tried that one. Maybe next week.
Yeah.
Here's the basic idea. We're going to try to make geodes that you can crack open and reveal crystals inside. But we're going to do it using exclusively candy. We're not inventing this out of nothing. The first time I saw it was like an art student, I think. They'd made giant ones.
It was amazing.
And they took like 6 months or something, carefully rotating them and all that. We're not gonna take 6 months, we're gonna take a week though. And some other people have done similar things, but so far I've never seen one where you end up with a sealed geode that you get to crack open and reveal crystals inside. And I think we have a good way to do that, so we're gonna try and start that today.
So we're starting, most of this makes sense to me, but tennis balls.
Tennis balls are not necessary. You don't have to use tennis balls for this, but we are using those as sort of a mold to make a good size and shape for our geodes. If you want to use something else, you can. If you want to use a measuring cup, that'll work great. A small bowl could do it. I just like the size of the tennis ball. The bowls are for mixing colors and types of candy later. And so let's get started. Well, you can see we've got candy melts. They pretend that they're chocolate. I don't know how much actual cocoa butter they have in them, but they act like chocolate. And we've got a few different colors here. We've got some white, some black. That one's just dark brown. And then we've also got some blue and red. If we want to have some color, we can do that as well. Okay. So really you can go crazy, do whatever you want. These come in tons of colors. We did not get all of them. First, we want to prepare the tennis balls. And when I say prepare the tennis balls, what I really mean is cut them in half.
Okay.
So I've got a sharp knife and I'm going to try to slice the tennis ball approximately in half. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but I will tell you that this is very hard to do if your knife is dull.
Okay, you have now cut a tennis ball in half.
And I'm actually going to not quite get through all the fuzz, so it's still sort of hinged. And this is, again, not necessary. It just makes it really easy to put it back like this, which you don't have to do, but you can do. It's kind of entertaining.
You could probably get, you know, a mold that's made for stuff like this. Maybe not candy geodes, but we do have molds in the studio. This is just a really clever way to do it if you don't have anything at home.
The crystals inside our geodes are going to be rock candy. Quick, easy recipe for that. We're going to be using 3 cups of sugar, 1 cup water. We'll cook it on the stove, stirring to make sure it dissolves well, and then as soon as it gets to a boiling point, we turn it off. It's not something that you need a candy thermometer for. We're not going to be cooking it additionally. We're just trying to make a super saturated liquid. We've washed the tennis balls, but we still don't want to put food directly in contact with them for a few reasons. So we are going to just take some aluminum foil and line each tennis ball half with it. And ideally, we do want the walls to be nice and smooth so less chocolate sticks to it because we're going to be putting the chocolate right into this foil. But it is going to be wrinkled. We're putting a flat piece of foil into a small curved surface. That's okay. That will just give our geodes more of a rock texture. Next up, what we're going to do is start making our chocolate shells here. So I think we're going to go for just sort of a gray outer color.
Okay.
And we're going to be using some of our black melts and some of our white melts to make a good gray color. We are doing this from the outside in. So this will be sort of the outside layer color of the rock. And then as we get farther in, we can change it up. So we can have colors to match our color crystals or just white so it reflects light really well. Lots of options. I'm just gonna throw this in the microwave. These things melt great in a microwave. Okay, I've got a lovely gray color here. This is, I think, gonna be excellent. And the chocolate, as you can see, is melted, but it's really not hot. Like it's just, this stuff melts fairly low temperature. And this stuff, like it's not even uncomfortable to keep my finger in it. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm basically just going to paint this onto the inside of one of these foil lined tennis balls. So I'm just gonna take a little blob of that. Take a little blob of that. Now if you want, you can try putting these 2 halves together, squeezing it and shaking it
And if you do it wrong, you'll know because it'll end up all over the kitchen
That wasn't
and
chocolate,
your
that was
face.
just water. All right, so that spread a little bit, not a lot. I'm actually just gonna use my finger and spread that around. You do wanna make sure that if you try the shaking method, you've got it very well closed, because if you don't, you'll get chocolate everywhere. We've got a nice, fairly even spread of chocolate here. I'm just gonna throw this into the freezer to let it cool down. We're gonna want at least 3 layers total, and it doesn't take long to cool down because it does have foil around it and it's a fairly thin layer. So I'll just get this one freezing while we go ahead and do more of them. The innermost layer, I'm going to be using white. You don't have to, but I am. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the layer and then try to very quickly add some sugar into it. The sugar is going to act as seed spots to try and make sure that the sugar crystals that grow sort of halfway embedded into the chocolate. That should give us a much better hold and really give us the geode look that we're going for. Callie is just finishing up her third one. Mine are all lined, so now what I'm gonna do is take the foil up out of the tennis balls and then just peel it away from the chocolate. And it should peel away fairly easily. Okay, so now we need to put our 2 halves together, and we've just got a frying pan set on pretty low, but this chocolate melts easily. So we're just gonna take both halves here and swirl it around until we're getting nice flat contact all the way around on the stove. And we should have 2 melty halves that just wanna bloop right together. Look at that. One more batch of the chocolate, gone for kind of a gray color, and this is just gonna go more on the outside. If you don't like the crinkled foil look, or you want to make sure that you've really sealed up all of the seams, then you can just add a little bit more chocolate onto it. You could even do different colors. You could add a little bit of white or some other color and give it some streaking patterns. Anything you want to decorate on the outside of this should be just fine, as long as you don't melt it all the way through. In order to get our syrup into the geode, we do need an access point, and I'm just gonna use a drill for that.
Seems excessive.
It is. You definitely don't have to use a drill for this, but I choose to.
Okay. The other thing we don't want to have happen is we don't want it to melt the walls of our candy geodes.
Weird, but functional.
I'm going about this a different way. I'm actually cooling my geodes before I'm adding the sugar, just in case. I'm trying not to let anything melt on the inside. It's been about a week.
It has. So we're gonna start with this one, which I think I can actually see liquid flowing. So I'm gonna see if I can pour anything out.
Okay.
And then we'll see, because I do think liquid will come out. I am not sure if any crystals will have formed. I might have added so much water that nothing would crystallize. So we're gonna drain this, and then we're gonna crack it open and see what kind of geode result we got.
Okay. You got some.
A little bit. It's cool with the layers. Like it
I
kind of
know.
almost looks like a coconut, but like we've got the dark outer layer and then the whiter inner layer. And of course, we controlled the colors there. If we had wanted it to blend more smoothly, we could have done that. If we wanted it to be all white or all gray. It doesn't want to pour. The opening has crystallized closed. So I'm actually just gonna get a plate to put this on because I think it still has liquid in it. And I don't want that to just flood over, even with the paper towel.
That's kind of what I'm thinking is happening with all of mine. They seem very solid on the top, but I'm thinking if I dig in just a little bit, I'm gonna hit some liquid.
Oh, I started hammering and
Yeah.
that's a lovely color.
What have you done?
I genuinely don't know. Yeah, so I got quite a bit of gemstone sludge. Ooh, and the colors all mixed together and formed that delightful
I love it.
sludge. All right, after opening a couple geodes and they still had too much slush in them, we drilled holes, let extra liquid drain out, and they're looking much better so far. Haven't cracked them all open, but I want to try with this one. This one actually had enough liquid. Your draining method, I think, was superior with the cups. I left mine in the tennis ball and enough drained out that I think it just pooled, and so I think part of this one won't be liquid, but I still want to give this a shot. Cracking open the geodes. Oh.
Nice.
Well, we had some of it drain out, and that's kind of fun. This one was so thick.
All right, let's try my orange one. Okay.
That actually looks pretty cool. It's a nice color.
Yeah, but see, it's still slushy, but that's okay. That's not terrible. This is what I was going for. I wanted sort of that gradient rock look.
That looks like a geode to me.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's how geode crystals form. Just gonna smush it. Okay.
Does kind of look like the inside of an amethyst. So this version, the result we're getting is very much like a full, like the crystals have taken over all of it. Off camera, I talked about trying to avoid the slush a little bit. And so I did try, instead of the 3 cups of sugar, 1 cup of water, I did a 2 cups of sugar, 1 cup of water.
Okay.
And then while it was still very hot, so with these, I separated it after it had cooled quite a bit. And I think that was my biggest mistake. But I separated it while it was hot, and then I added the color and flavor there. And then when it cooled down, it was still a syrup. It hadn't crystallized like a lot of this had. I poured that in, and these are the results I got from those pieces.
Okay.
And it did a little bit better, and I did have to drill the hole. You can actually see the spot. Same thing, it was full of liquid, and I couldn't pour the extra out until I drained out some of the extra by just drilling holes into both sides, poured it out, and then I let it dry for a couple days. You definitely want to make sure that when you are pouring it in, it is cool so it won't melt the chocolate, but if it's crystallized, then you're gonna have a really hard time pouring it in, and it's just all gonna turn to slush. So I think that's part of what helps with the 2-to-1 ratio, is that there's not so much sugar in it that it's just gonna just form crystals without doing anything.
Makes sense.
But with the 2-to-1, it is still very oversaturated, and it should grow onto the walls of what you put there.
It's not bad. Guys, that was a ton of fun, but you know we've always got more for you to see, and if you like this kind of content, make sure to hit that button and subscribe so you never miss out on the fun. We'll see you in the next one. Talk to you then.